Come on, right? We in there. Call it up. It's an outfit. Roll it on first. Go ahead. Yo, man, Alpha, present thyself. Yeah, you rush. Move over a little bit to the right so you don't hit the camera. All right. Yo, man, Alpha, present thyself.
Alfred Newsom, Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'Allah.
Alfred Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'Allah.
Alfred Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'Allah.
Right. Alfred Ban Yahawada, Ban Yasha'Allah. You can go from Imagine to Imagine Shabbat. Right, Imagine. Well, now, yeah, start to Imagine. Both feels together. Yeah, both feels together. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbarakatah.
Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbarakatah. Come up. Yeah, come up this way. Right. Press. Middle. Right. On. You want to again? Go. All right, so what you want to do, extend your right hand, and your left hand will be on your chest, and then you will turn and face me. Right hand, and turn back forward, and you will say, La Yasha'Allah.
La Yasha'Allah.
And you go drink it. Just open wine. Right, turn back to me. One. Yeah, turn back on that side. Right. Scroll. Ready? All right, so what you gonna do? Take the scroll, put it on your right shoulder. Right. So if you tight, we can put it in your hand. Grab it there. Nice and tight. You rush. Yeah. Right. Over here. Yeah. All right. Got it. Hold on. All right. Right. Imadim, which means to stand. Understand? Wapanya Hakwadam, which means turn and face the east. So the east is facing this direction. All right. So we're going to turn and face the east. You always pray towards the east. It's the Most High commanded. All right. And we'll say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. All right.
The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew, Abanawa,
Abanawa,
Shabbat
Shemaya,
Kadash,
Hayah,
Shemka,
Yahweh,
Malakufka, Taba'ah,
Ratazaka,
Hayah,
Aisha,
Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamaya,
the thunder
Lakam,
Lakam,
Kal,
Yawam,
Wasalakanawa.
When he said first, The second time when I repeat it, that's when we all say it together. So we're going to do it in the Hebrew first, then we're going to do it in the English. It'll probably be much easier for some of y'all in the English, but we're going to do it in Hebrew, then we do it in English. All right? So keep going.
Wasalak nawa.
Wasalak nawa.
Kabawaf nawa.
Kabawaf nawa.
Kasalak nawa.
Kasalak nawa.
Kabawaf nawa.
Kabawaf nawa.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Tabaya'a nawa.
Tabaya'a nawa.
Wanasayawan.
Wanasayawan.
Abo.
Abo.
Hawashai nawa.
Hawashai nawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Okay, yeah. Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwa.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'ala.
Waha'ala.
Wahatapara.
Wahatapara.
La'awalamyam.
La'awalamyam.
Aman.
Aman. And in the English, our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth.
In earth.
As it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debts.
As we forgive our debtors.
As we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not.
And lead us not
into temptation.
into temptation.
But deliver us from evil.
But deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom.
And the power.
And the power.
And the glory.
And the glory.
Forever.
Forever.
So be it.
So be it. Hakak, the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh.
So I see you slide over a little bit. Yeah, that's too hard. Go ahead, Raj.
Hakak, the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Baba Kwashah.
Baba Kwashah.
Nathan Nawa.
Nathan Nawa.
Hakak.
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 Lava Pa'a.
Lava Pa'a.
Kal Makhala.
Kal Makala.
Wakal Marawa.
Wakal Marawa.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Hamad Zariah.
Hamatazariah.
Hakak.
Hakak.
La Hakuya.
La Hakuya.
Hamathia.
Hamathia. Hakak.
Al Rakawa.
Al Rakawa.
Atama'ala.
Atama'ala.
Lagarshan.
Lagarshan.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Ba'ashim Yahweh
The
Shah.
water Aman.
The water Aman. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the
The
power.
power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness.
All manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the
The
lepers.
power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean
To
spirits.
cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'a.
Asha'a.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Al-Haharya.
Al-Haharya.
Ma'ayan.
Ma'ayan.
Yaba'a.
Yaba'a.
Isaiah.
Isaiah. Isaiah. Ma'ayin.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shemayim.
Shemayim.
Wa'arataza.
Wa'arataza.
Al-Yathan.
Al-Yathan.
Lamawat.
Lamawat.
Regalka.
Regalka.
Al-Yanawam.
Al-Yanawam.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Hana.
Hana.
La'a.
La'a.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yashan.
Yayashun.
Shawamor.
Shawamor.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala. Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalka.
Tazalka.
Al-Yad.
Al-Yad.
Yamyanka.
Yamyanka.
Yawamam.
Yawamam.
Hashamash.
Hashemash.
La'a.
La'a.
Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayarak.
Wayarah.
Walayala.
Balayala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamorka.
Yashamorka.
Kalrai.
Mikal Rai.
Yashamor.
Yashamor.
Afnapashka.
Afnapashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamor.
Yashamor.
Tazaafka.
Tazaafka.
Wabawaaka.
Wabawaaka.
Ma'ita.
Ma'aita.
Wa'aib.
Wa'aib.
Awalam.
Awalam.
Aman.
Aman. And in the English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From which cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
He shall Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Al damayalaka.
Al damayalaka.
Al tacharash.
Al
Wa
takarash.
al tashakwat.
Wa al tashakwat.
Al.
Al
Kayahana.
kayahana.
Awayabyaka.
Awayabyaka.
Yahama yawan.
Yahama yawan.
Wamashanayaka.
Wamashanayaka.
Nasha'awa.
Nasha'awa.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al aimaka.
Al aimaka.
Ya ayriyamwa.
Ya'arayamwa.
Sawad.
Sawad.
Wayata ya'ai tazawa.
Wayataya ay tasawa.
Al tazapawanyaka.
Al tazapawanyaka.
Amorwa.
Amorwa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanakakidam.
Wanakakidam.
Magoya.
Magoya.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yazakar.
Yazakar.
Sham Yasha'ala.
Sham Yasha'ala.
Aiwad.
Aiwad.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Nawa'ai tazawa.
Nawa'ai tazawa.
Lab.
Lab.
Yachadwa.
Yachadwa.
Auyaka.
Auyaka.
Baryak.
Baryak.
Yakarafwa.
Yakarathwa,
Ahoya,
Ahoya,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wayashamailaya,
Waya Shema'alim,
Mawa Abba,
Mawa'aba,
Wahagoya,
Wahagor,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Wa'aimawan,
Wa'aimawan,
Wa'aimalak,
Wa'aimalak,
Palashak,
Palashah,
I'm the Shabya,
I'm Yeshabia,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gama Ashawar,
Gum Ashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Imam,
Imam,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Zawawai,
Zarawai,
Labanya Lawat,
Labanya Lawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Aisha Laham,
Aisha Laham,
Kamadyan,
Kamadyan,
Kasayasara'a,
Kasaya Sara'ah,
Kayabyan,
Kayabyan,
Banafal,
Banachal,
Kwayashwan,
Kwayashwan,
Nashamadwa,
Nashamadwa,
Ayanda Ara,
Ba'ayanda Ara,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Damad,
Damad,
La Adama,
La Adama,
Shayatamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Narayamawa,
Nadayamawa,
Ka'irab,
Ka'ira,
Wakaza Abba,
Wakaza Abba,
Wakazabak,
Wakazabak,
Wakatazalmanai,
Wakatazal Manai,
Kaul,
Ka,
Nasayakamwa,
Nasaya Kamwa,
Ashor,
Ashor,
Amorwa,
Amorwa,
Nayarashat,
Naya Rishad,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Na'awa,
Na'awa,
Alahayam,
Alahaya,
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 Shayatamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Kagalgala,
Kagalgala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya Raka,
Lapanya Raka,
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Daba Ira Ya Ira,
Taba Ira Yaira,
Wakalahaba,
Wakalahaba,
Salahat,
Salahat,
Haryam,
Haryam,
Khan,
Khan,
Daradapma,
Taradapma,
Basa Iraka,
Basa Ira,
Basa Wapafka,
Wabasawapathka,
Daba Halam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'a,
Mala'a,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Kwalawan,
Kwalawan,
Wayabakwashwa,
Wayabakwashwa,
Shamka,
Shanka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Wayabahalwa,
Wayabahawa,
Aya Ai,
Ayai,
Wayakaporwa,
Wayachaporwa,
Waya Abadwa,
Waya Abadwa,
Waya da Iowa,
Waya da Iowa,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Atha,
Atha,
Shamka,
Shamka,
Yahawa,
Yahawa,
Labadka,
Labadka,
Al Yawan,
Al Yawan,
Al,
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 Kal,
Arataza,
Ha'arataza,
Aman.
Aman. And in the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh,
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh,
and hold not thy peace,
and hold not thy peace,
and be not still, O Yahweh,
and be not still, O Yahweh.
for lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thine enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee
and they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people,
and consulted
and consulted
against thy hidden ones.
against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them
from
off
being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee,
They are confederate against thee,
the tabernacles of Edom,
the tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
and the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
of Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal,
and Ammon,
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also is joined with them.
Asher also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah,
Salah,
do unto them
do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of Kison,
at the brook of Kisan,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb,
Make their nobles like Arab,
and like Zair.
and like Zair.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes,
all their princes,
as Zabah,
as Abba,
and as Almunah,
and as Amunah,
who said,
who say,
Let us take to ourselves
let us take to
the
ourselves
houses of Yahweh in possession.
the houses of Yahweh in possession.
O my power,
O my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like the wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the fire burneth the wood,
as the fire burneth the
and
wood,
as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
and as the flame set up the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest,
So persecute them with thy
and
tempest,
make them afraid with thy storm.
and make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name.
that they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
let them be confounded
let them be
and
confounded
troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high
art the most high
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
So be it.
So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Rakatha Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Wa Maya Ka'ala.
Wa Maya Ka'ala.
Wa Alahaya.
Wa Alahaya.
Wa Tazab Ya'a.
Batazab Ya'ah.
Alawak Yahana.
Alawak Yahana.
Ha Alawak Ya.
Ha Alawakya.
Ha Saranya.
Ha Saranya.
Ha Kutazayanya.
Ha Kwatazayanya.
Ha Khayayalya.
Ha Kayayoyam.
Wa Ha Agwafya.
Wa Ha Akwatya.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
The water Aman.
The water Aman. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shah.
And Yahweh Shah.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commander General Yohanan.
Commanding General Yahweh.
The generals.
The general.
Captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
Curse. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
Select, sir. That would be after. There's one more. No, last, sir. This is when we
At the end.
right, kind of conversation.
Okay. This first and then the second time.
Right.
No, all right. Sar, which means to turn. Turn. Yeshabium, which means to be seated. All right. Take this. Got it. Right. Go ahead and pull it up. Okay, go ahead. All right, there we go. Okay, so we're going to be reading in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, for all the Lord's high holy days. Bible. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. All right, we're starting in Hebrew. We are in the Feast of First Fruits. This is the closing of the Feast of First Fruits. The Lord's high holy days that we are to celebrate are recorded here in the Bible. This is our customs, our heritage. It has always been that the Greeks and the Romans and all of the various, either from Spain and the Africans and Arabs, all of the people that we just finished sending up prayers against, we have been fighting against these nations of people for thousands of years. Okay. The same East Indians and Africans and Arabs and Asians and Koreans that leave their homes across the world, they gather together to set up and work together. That's why the prayers we sent up in Psalms 83rd chapter say they are confederate, meaning they all work together to make sure that they can divide up and conquer our people. That's how they leave their homes and know to immediately go and set up a business in the Black community. And almost 100% of their revenue is going to come from selling some services or goods to our people. Like they all work together with our chief oppressor, which is the so-called white man. Well, that's the chief oppressor of us here. But if you are in the West Indies or in Jamaica, the chief oppressor that you have down there is going to be the East Indians. Depending on where you are in the world, all of these nations are against us, and they always have been. All right. King David was fighting them. That's why we've always had these prayers. We are the only people that don't have the records of our history as to what interaction we had with those nations. But they all know who we are. They have our history and our records. That's why they came into Africa to get us specifically and not get, you understand, the Africans and the other nations or races of people that were there. So these are our high holy days, the things that the Lord commanded us to celebrate as a nation, as a race of people, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but being raised in Christianity and Islam, which are the two dominant religions in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, we would never know about these high holy days. We would never know about them. We never heard about them. And the holidays that we have been taught to celebrate, like Christmas and Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day, birthdays, you know, Hanukkah, Ramadan, Eid, all of these things there, they stop us from learning our heritage. They replace our heritage so that we can take the customs of the people that enslaved us. So that's why the Most High gave these commandments for us to keep these throughout all of our generations. That's what we're getting ready to get into here. All right, so we're going to read the first 7 in the Hebrew, and you read them in English. And then after the first 7, we'll be able to just alternate with you and me, you guys. All right. So we read now. We're going to start in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. We're going to be reading in Hebrew, then we're going to read it in the English. Just like the Bible says, if anyone's speaking an unknown language or an unknown tongue, like the tongues in the Bible is just another language. There's nothing magical like they do in church, jumping up and down and rolling on the floor. Is literally another language. That's what it was describing in Acts, the 2nd chapter, and in 1st and 2nd Corinthians. We ended up speaking different languages because different races of people had conquered us, and we ended up living in their lands, just like now. In French, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, English, you know, same thing as we have today. All right. So we're going to start in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and verse 1. All right. So reading the Hebrew. Waya Debar, Yahweh, Al Mashar, La Amar. Verse 2. Debar Al Banya, Yasha Allah, Waya Amarav, Al Hum, Mawaidia, Yahweh, Ashar, Takwara Awa, Atham, Makwara Aya, Quadash, Al Ha, Hum, Mawaidia. Verse 3. Shishaf, Yamayam, the Aisha, Mala'aka, Wabayawam, Ha Shabayaya, Shabath, Shabath one, Makwara'a, Quadash, Kal, Mala'aka, La'a, the Aishawa, Shabath, Hawa'a, La Yahweh, Bakal, Mawa Shabath Yakam. Verse 4. Alham, Mawaidia, Yahweh, Makwara'aya, Quadash, Ashar, the Kwara'awa, Atham, Bamawaidam. Verse 5. Bakadash, Hara'ashwan, Ba'akar, Ba'arabaiha, Aisha, Lachadash, Baya, Salakia, Bayan, Ha'ira, Salakia, Ha'irabayam, Arabayam, okay. Ha'arabayham, Pasak, La Yahweh. Verse 6. Wabakamashah, Aishar, Yawam, Lachadash, Hazah, Chag, Matazawath, La Yahweh, Shaba'ith, Yamayam, Matazawath, Ta'akalwa. Verse 7. By Yawam, Hara'ashwan, Makwara'ah, Quadash, Yahaya, Lakam, Kal, Mala'akath, Ibada, La'ah, Ta'aishawa. All right. So those are the first 7 verses in the Hebrew. And now, have you read the first 7 verses in the English, Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1 through 7. All right.
All right. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Go ahead, call out the scripture, brother.
Sure. This is Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Mm-hmm. Even these are my feasts.
Even these are my feasts. So when the Lord said, first is something that's very important to understand throughout the entire Bible that's very easy to get overlooked. The Lord does not speak to everyone and never spoke to everyone. The Lord spoke to Moses. Moses speaking to the children of Israel is God talking to the children of Israel. God does not talk to everyone individually, like the Christian church has been teaching us, making our people absolutely crazy and schizophrenic, thinking that God is talking to them. That's how they run scams and games on our people. All right. The Lord told Moses to tell the children of Israel what he said, and that is how the children of Israel learned what the Lord wanted us to do. The Lord always only dealt with one man. And it says, concerning the feast of the Lord, we, unlike the other races of people who all have their own culture, all have their own gods, all have their own languages and everything, we are the people that belong to the God of the Bible. We are not like those people. We're not like the Asians, the Africans, and the Arabs. We cannot live life a different way apart from how the Most High taught us. That's why when we celebrate these holidays, we get a bunch of fights at the Thanksgiving dinner, a bunch of shootings at the Mother's Day and the 4th of July and all the birthday parties, like the one that just happened a couple of weeks ago on Military Highway and the one that happened in Chesterfield. We go and celebrate these things that are against the Lord because we have not been taught by our leaders that have been appointed by our oppressors. We've not been taught to obey the Most High. And when we don't celebrate what the Lord wants to celebrate something else, that's when the Lord gets angry and then we die. All right. So that's why Moses is getting these instructions. That's why it's very important. That's why you all are here, because the Lord commanded it. So Most High in Christ. All right. Every season, a holy convocation, the word holy just means separate. Doesn't mean anything magical. Doesn't mean you can float or walk on water. Holy just means separate. That's it. I mean, it's not for everybody. Everyone cannot participate. The Africans, Arabs, East Indians, white man, they have no part in this Bible. They are not welcome and cannot participate or celebrate any of the Lord's high holy days. Neither can they join us, because we are a holy or a separate race of people that belong to the God of this Bible. All right. These are the Lord's feasts. All right. So go ahead. Verse 3, Brother Kishore, brother.
Verse 3. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings.
Very important scripture. 6 days is work supposed to be done. In any calendar that you look at, until the oppressor changed the days. That's why it says in the Bible in Daniel chapter 8 and 25, our oppressor would seek to change days and laws. That's why they changed the idea of marriage between a piece of paper and a contract between the courts, as opposed to an agreement between the father giving his daughter away. As opposed to sex being marriage like it is in the Bible, they change and make marriage a ring and a piece of paper and some business decision. As opposed to the day and the night being separate, the oppressor makes a 24-hour clock and calls it the same day so that he can have you work 18 and 19-hour days, as opposed to once the sun goes down, the work is supposed to be over. But he is an oppressor and wants to slave everyone to death. That's why God separated the daytime and the nighttime. If you go into Genesis, that's why it says 6 days shall work be done. The Sabbath is Saturday. It's Friday sundown. The daytime of Saturday is the Sabbath. The beginning of the week on just about every calendar that you look on is always Sunday, because this is the first day of the week in every calendar until the oppressor changed it and tried to make Monday the first day, even though if you do payroll, Monday is not the first day on any payroll calendar. He's a deceiver. That's why the Bible, that's why God calls the so-called white man the devil or deceiver. That's all the word deceiver means. It means he teaches you to believe in something that's a lie, like rabbits laying eggs, like the tooth fairy, the Easter bunny. You're going to die and live in some sandcastle in heaven with your mom and your grandma and all your relatives that died. Or you're going to go live in some pit of fire forever with all the bad people that died. Like none of that is in the Bible. A deceiver, a devil spread that throughout the earth. That's their culture. All right. But in the seventh day is the Sabbath. Ye shall do no work therein. Meaning in all of our dwellings, we are supposed to keep the Lord's Sabbath day. We are not supposed to work on the Sabbath. This work is going to explain what it's talking about in another few scriptures. That does not mean you cannot eat. You cannot cook. The Sabbath is a day of rest. So whatever you would do for your rest, your pleasure, or your leisure, unlike what the Pentecostals and the Jehovah Wickedness teach everybody, you are not supposed to just sit in a room and stare at a wall because you can't cook or feed your kids or go shopping or do anything fun. That is religion. That is not what the law says. That is not what was in the Bible. That law about the Sabbath was written to make sure that you as an employer did not force your employees to work 7 days a week without giving them a rest, a mandatory rest. But as a people, we are in captivity under other races of people that do not give us God's mandatory day of rest. That's why many of us end up slaving on the Sabbath. It is the best day of the week. Anytime most people want to do something, when do they plan their event? If they have the opportunity, when are they going to schedule? Who could tell me? When is the best day to schedule the event? Saturday. Exactly. That's the Sabbath day. The day of Saturday. You understand? The Lord had it set up that way from the very beginning. All right. So keep reading, Brother Kishore, from verse 4.
Verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Like every high holy day, they have a season to them. That's why the oppressors, they make their own holidays to correspond or combat what the Lord already has set up. That is why God separated every race of people. The Chinese have their own New Year. The various Africans have their own New Year. Our year begins in the spring. The so-called Europeans, the Caucasians, cave dwellers, they start a new year in the dead of winter, which is in December, which doesn't even make sense as a farmer because the last month of a year starts December the 22nd. You got 3 more months left in winter. You haven't done all the seasons to complete a year. You understand? These are very foolish people, and they only rule over us because we as a people do not obey the Most High. That's why we coming back to the Lord, so that we do obey the Most High, so that he can wipe them out and put them in captivity, and we won't be under them anymore. They won't be in charge. All right. So keep going.
Verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover.
The Passover. That's what we celebrate every April, the Passover. So we remember, of course, coming out of slavery in Egypt, like we were in captivity in Egypt. The Africans that the Christian church has lied and told black people that we are African, those Africans are the ones we were in slavery under them many, many times all throughout the Bible, especially in Egypt. Those Africans absolutely despised our people. They told sisters to abort their babies. They told sisters who delivered sons to kill the sons after the sister just finished delivering the baby. They threw our babies in the river. They starved us to death in the ghettos. They beat us to death, exactly like the white man's police force is doing to us now, all over America, all the way down to Brazil. You understand? They did exactly to us what is being done to us now. Like, we are not Africans, and the Lord has us celebrate every year to remember that the Lord had to wipe our enemies out and destroy their entire kingdom so that we can be free from slavery, from oppression. You understand? All right. So go ahead to verse 6.
Verse 6. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
All right. And the feast of unleavened bread, of course, with the Passover, we ate the Passover lamb. We had to kill a lamb. You understand? A lamb the size of whatever size your family was, so that you can eat the entire lamb. We had to cook it with bitter herbs because it had to be done quick. You understand? We did not have time to bake our food in an oven the way that we normally would cook. So we had to make unleavened bread without yeast because we did not have time to wait for our bread to rise. You understand? So we killed the Passover lamb. We had to put the blood on the doorposts, and that blood was a message that the Lord gave Moses instructions to tell us, so that when he sent the death angel through to kill the Egyptians who were killing us, that the death angel knew not to go in our house and kill our firstborn, but to go to every other house that did not have the blood on the doorpost and take their firstborn everything. And in 7 days we went in the wilderness. We ate unleavened bread because we did not have food. We didn't have our own food. We were running from the Africans who chased us after we left because they were going to kill us if they caught us. You understand? Okay, so go ahead, verse 7.
Verse 7. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
All right. The first day we'll have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. All right. No servile work. All right. Servile work is what I'm talking about. Your servile work is what you do for money, your job, or your slavery, as we call it. Because if we were free, we would not be doing half of the jobs that we are doing for money, because we would be a free people. And we would not have to pay another race of people for water and mortgages and food and light bill and electricity, just to never own the majority of what we are paying for. That is captivity. You understand? Same life we were living in Egypt. To us, most of our people, that's just life. But you're not supposed to pay for your place to live. Your family has land. You're supposed to get your food and your water and your cows and your everything that you're going to eat and wear. We made our own everything. We're not supposed to have to go to another nation of people for it. The only reason we have to do that now is because we are in captivity under them, which was a curse from the Lord. All right. So the reading, Imadium, just us up here. We're going to stand. All right. I had a brother just watch the cord there. No sweat. Push 7. All right. You go ahead, brother. Down. Just take your time. If you need to push it up, you got you. No sweat. All right. Good with it. Okay. Place one. All right. The water. All right. All right. Shabu, just us up here. All right.
Come on, sir. We can't.
Yeah. Good about it.
Easier.
Just switch the one that you in.
You know what?
That might work out
Okay.
easy.
Maybe because I'm racist. And
It's light skin chair, ain't bad. Cool. There you go. Got it.
That's the one.
All right. I'm gonna take mine away.
All
right, you got it. Leviticus, you started 8.
Sir. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 8 in the Hebrew. Wa karab them asha la Yahweh shabaif yum
A little bit.
but by your wum hashabaya it's like it habashaya makara'a kodash kal mala akaf I bada la the aishawa. Okay. Verse 9. Where the boy Yahweh al mashallah amar. Verse 10. The bar al banya yasha Allah wa amar ta ala hayim. It's like an owl ham kaya ba ta ba'a wa owl ha'arataza ashar anya nathan lakam wa karath ma'ath kwatazayara wa haba'af wa ba'af ma'ath aymar yara ash yath kwatazara it's like it kwatazara owl hakahan. Verse 11. Wahanayap af ham aymar lapanya Yahweh lavtazan kam mama it's like it mama charath hashabaf yana yapat it's like it nayap yanayap nawa hakahan. Verse 12. Wa aishayatham bayawam hanayap kam af ma'aymar. It's like a ha'aymar kabash thamayam ban shanathwa la ayla la Yahweh. Verse 13 in the Hebrew. Manakathawa it's like in wanakafwa shanya aisharanyam ailath balawala shama it's like it but bashaman asha la Yahweh rayak baya it's like it nayachak wanasaka yawan it's like it yayan rabba ya'if hahayan. Verse 14 walacham. Verse 14 walacham wa kwaliya wa karamal la'a the akal wa aid taza it's like a aitism hajawam haza aid haba ya'a it's like haba ya'a kam ath korabwa it's like a karaban. Is that a ka? No, that's a bun. It's like karaban alahayakam the quath I will ladaraf yakam bakaul mashabaf yakam. That's it on 14.
Right. Mike, up. We started verse 8. Right? In the English, Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 8. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High 7 days. And the 7th day is an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Keep saying servile work. That's talking about your job, whatever your career, your job, whatever you do for money. Of course, the priests always work on the high holy days. The priests always work on the Sabbath day because the priests are doing the duties of the temple. That never stops. That's always going on. So the priests were always on their job. That's what Christ had to explain in the 23rd chapter. We was explaining that. I put it up there where he had to explain to them that they tried to say that Christ and his disciples did things that were unlawful on the Sabbath. And then Christ explained to him that don't the priest profane the Sabbath? If the Sabbath says not to work, the priest's job is to work and do the duties of the temple. And the priests work on the Sabbath. The prophets teach on the Sabbath. It has always been that way. Of course, those religious leaders did not understand the Bible. They were not who God put in charge. They were the political leaders that came to power after we fought to get the Greeks from ruling over us in the wars of the Maccabees. Of course, now they are who is ruling our community, the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, the local preachers, the Farrakhans, the Elijah Muhammads, like all of these people rule over us now. They are appointed leaders by our oppressors. They're not who the Lord set up. All right. So now it says, in the seventh day is an holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. Verse 9, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when ye be come into the land which I give unto you, ye shall reap the harvest thereof. Then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priests, meaning the first fruits, what crops you had that you worked for, those things that you were supposed to give to, you were supposed to bring those first fruits to the Lord. And by you bringing them to the Lord, that means you are bringing them to the priest. That is who is doing the offering. That is who is doing the sacrificing. That is who is killing the goats to offer to the Lord for your sins. That's where you bring the first fruits of your crops that you work for, because the best that you have, that first set of those crops, you were supposed to bring a 10% of that to the Lord. And when you bring it to the Lord, that goes to your brother. It goes to the priest. It's instituted into the law to teach us to not be selfish Christians. So when Dr. Dre and when Oprah and then Baby and Lil Wayne and everybody becomes billionaires or 100 millionaires, that they sit with their billions of dollars as they watch the cities and the gutters and the communities that they came from starve to death and descend into chaos and poverty. They sit with all of their wealth and don't care about their people. It's written in the law to teach us that when you get your first, consider your brothers. The Lord has it in the law that way, so that we will have a nation where your life is more important to me than my own life. Because now my life is more important. That's how our people live. And because my life is more important to me than yours, I will steal from you. I will break in your car. I'll have sex with your woman. I'll kidnap your children. I'll shoot up your complex. I'll sell drugs if I have to, because your life is not as important as my life is. That's where that personal salvation that the Christian church teaches, that teaches our people to be selfish, and it makes us murderers. It makes us criminals. And it makes us easy for the other nations to wipe our people out and exploit us, because our God will not protect us as long as we are disobeying him. All right. Okay. So now where we at? Get 12. So wave it for you on the morrow. And it says, the priest shall wave it for you. The priest's life was about doing the duties of serving the Most High, so that the Lord would not plague and kill our people for sinning against him. That was the prophet's life. That was the priest's life. And that was how the nation functioned. You understand? Your actions directly affect the rest of your people. You understand? That's what the Lord was always trying to instill in us. Like if you join another nation, that's going to affect our people, because you will take resources that are supposed to go to us, and now young Jeezy is going to give them to Jenny Mai and all of the Chinese people. You understand? So that's just an example. And OJ Simpson, instead of giving Shamiko or some sister Hertz rental car, now that money goes to that white family. And they got billions of dollars of rental car businesses all over America that everybody's going to rent cars from, instead of it being with the Jenkins or the Jeffersons or the Smiths or the Greens. Now some white woman benefits from all of that in their death. We don't get anything in our death, but all the bills that our parents left us. Maybe you might get the house if all the siblings don't fight over it, and granddaddy put it in the will to sell the house just to make sure your brothers and sisters don't kill each other trying to get it. You understand? That's why these laws and these high holy days are so important, as opposed to selfish Christmas. Where's my gift? Thanksgiving, you understand? Fighting over whose house the dinner's going to be at. Mother's Day, Father's Day, fighting, shooting all in the parking lot. Those things are against the Lord, and they make the Lord angry. All right. All right. So what we got? A question on here? Okay. All right. Most High in Christ. All right. The priests work on the Sabbath day. Just so to be clear, You understand? The priests eat the offerings. All
Right.
of those lambs, all of those goats, all of that first fruit of those crops, those potatoes and carrots and tomatoes and all of that first fruits that you're bringing, you're not bringing it so it can just sit somewhere in a big field and rot.
Right.
It's going to feed the priest.
Right.
They're going to eat the carrots that you grew. You understand? The potatoes that you grew,
Right.
the lamb that you raised, the turtle doves, the young doves, the Cornish hens that you raised. The priests are going to eat them after they grill them and slaughter them and sacrifice it unto the Lord. They're going to eat that.
Right.
You understand? If the priests are working on the Sabbath and you bring an offering on the Sabbath, the priests have to cook the meat because that is how you do the offerings. That's what it says in the Bible. Of course, Christians don't know the Bible, and that is why God does not allow a woman to teach the Bible.
Right.
Because God is not mommy. The Spirit of the Lord is not feminine. The Lord did not make a woman to represent God. The Lord made a woman to represent her father. And then that father finds a man to take over his duties for his daughter. And
Right.
then she will now represent her new dad, which is going to be that husband. And she will have a family with him and then raise kids with him and continue the nation for the future generations with him.
Right.
That is how life is supposed to function. Our lives are not functioning the way that the Lord set it up. That is how many sisters you said was missing just out of the tribe of Judah alone?
240,000.
240,000 just black women alone missing. That's not counting all the Native American sisters, which are not even humans to America. That's
Right.
not counting all the Hispanic sisters, which are not humans to America. That's not counting any of the other tribes, just mainly of the tribe of Judah and Benjamin. There's, what you said, 240,000. 240,000 missing.
It could be more.
You understand? That have been reported.
Right.
You understand? 240,000 of one of a few tribes. You understand? This is why the Lord set it up. You understand? Okay, so where we at now?
13, I believe.
Verse 13. It says, and the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor. Meaning the meat offering that you have, you're going to take the flour and you're going to take the oil. This was our custom. You understand?
Right.
If you have a pan or you have something and you flour the meat and you put it in the pan and you season it, you flour it, you got the oil. What is that called? Who here cooks and knows what that's called? Anybody have an idea? What's that called, sis?
Chicken.
It's chicken. All right. He cooked chicken. That's some of the offerings. Who else want to give it a shot? Anybody have an idea? Want to give it a shot? Say it again.
Fried food.
Fried food. That's correct. That's the sweet savor that the Lord loves.
That's right.
Burning meat filled with seasonings, floured and over the open fire, and many times in a frying pan.
Right.
You understand? Who are the people known for frying everything? You understand? Those are the Jews. Those are the Israelites in the Bible.
That's right.
The whole Bible vividly describes blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to a T. Even putting too much salt in your food is in the Bible.
Right.
If you want to see it, let me know. I can show you. It's in the Bible. We got a whole series called The Bible is Black
Right.
on ISUPK Virginia, showing you every black thing that the preacher never taught you was in the Bible.
That's right.
31 episodes so far. You can go and check it out. All right. Okay, so where we at? 13, mingle with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor, and the drink offering thereof shall be of wine. The fourth part of an hin, it was Israelites as Jews' customs to drink wine. It is not unlawful to drink wine. It's like, but you go ahead, sit, yeah, you make play, eat everything. You can go ahead and sit down. The water. It was the Jews' custom to eat and drink wine. We grew and made our own wine. We grew our own grapes.
Right.
All of that has always been our custom.
Right.
You understand? It is not unlawful. It's not a sin against God to drink wine. It is not a sin to drink beer. It is not a sin to drink liquor. It is not a sin for you to drink. It is a sin when you get drunk and want to fight everybody. It's a
Right.
sin for you if you drink to the point that you want to now go and try to have sex with everybody.
Right.
That becomes a sin. If you get drunk and want to go and shoot everybody, then for you, you should not drink.
Right.
But drinking is not a sin. Christ's first miracle was turning water into wine, and the religious leaders told Christ that he was wrong for drinking, even though it's in the law that you bring and wine for a drink offering to the Lord. All right, just to clear that up, just in case any Christians listening or watching that don't know the Bible, you understand, to get that Christianity off of you.
That's right.
All right, the drink offering, the fourth part of a hin, verse 14, and ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the self same day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It says your God, because the God of this Bible is not the God of everybody.
Right.
This is only the God of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel.
That's right.
The Africans have many gods of their own. So do the Arabs, so do the East Indians, so does the so-called white man. Every race of people have their own gods.
Right.
Everyone is not serving the same God. You understand? Which is another very common lie that our people are taught. All right.
Right.
And it says, until you have brought your offering before the Lord, meaning until you bring the offering that you are supposed to bring to the Lord, that goes to the priests, so that your brothers who don't have their own land, who don't grow their own food or raise their own cattle and goats, so that they will have what they need as they offer for you the offerings of the Lord. You don't take and eat of yourself. You feed your brother first. That is what bringing it to the priest is, and he's going to go to the Lord on your behalf. That is what was instilled in our nation. Brotherhood, sisterhood. Think of your people before yourself, which is not what we are taught. We're taught that you go and vote for somebody else to make your people's problems a priority. And of course, the politician gets in and sells everything to the highest bidder because that's his job.
Right.
He's not the men of the Lord that God appointed. All right. So it says, it shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Every generation of our people, we are always supposed to do this everywhere that we live. No matter where on the earth we are always supposed to do this throughout all of our generations. All right. So that's it on that. Okay. All right. So that's verse 14. Okay.
Verse 15.
You got it.
Verse 15 in Hebrew. Waya shaparath ma lakam. Mama Kharath, Mashabaf, Mayawam, Bayaa Kam Ad Aymar, Hahanawawap, it's like it, Nawapa, Nawapa, Shabai, Shabawap, Shabaf, it's like a Shabafwaf, Mayamath, it's like it, Thamayam, Thamayamtha, Thahayana. Verse 16. I, Mama Kharath, Mashabaf, Hashabayayath, Thaiparwa, Hamashyam, Yawam, Hakara, it's like it, Wakara Karab, it's like it, Karabathma, Manacha, Chadash, it's like Chadasha, La Yahweh. Verse 17. Mama Washabaf Yakam, Tabayaawa, Lacham. It's like it, the Nawapa, Thayam, Khan, Thayam, Shanya, Asharanyam, Ailath, Thahayana, Hamataza, the Apayana, it's like it, the Apyana, Naha, it's like it, the Apyanaha, Bakawarium, La Yahweh. Verse 18. Wayakarabathma, Owl, Halacham, Shabaith, Kabashiam, Thamayama, Banya, Shana, Aipar, Salakia, Wapar, Ban, Bakwar, Achad, Wa ala, Slakia, Wa alaya, Wa ayalma, Slakia, Wa ayalma, Shanyam,
Ayalam. What ayalam?
Did it say Salaki? Which one?
What ayalam?
Alayam. Salaki what? Salaki what alayam? The water, sir.
Ayalam.
Ayalam. Salaki what ayalam? The water. Shanyam. Yahayawa. Ayla la Yahawa. Wamanak thumb. It's like a wamanachathma. Wana sakyaham. Asha. Rayak, Nayachak, la Yahweh. Verse 19. Wa Aisha Yafma Sha'ayar Isaiah. It's like Isaiah Achad La Chata'ath Washanyam Kabashyam Banya Shana it's like Lazabak Shalamyam. Verse 20. Wahanayap Hakahan Atham. It's like Athma Aolacham Haba Habakawarium Fanawapa Lapanya Yahawa Al Shanya Kabashyam Kodash Yahaya La Yahawa Lakahan. Verse 21. Wayakarathma by Itazam Hayawam Hazah Makara'a Kodash Yahawa Lakam Ka Malaakaf Ibada La'ata Aishawa Kakwath Iwalam Bakal Ma'awashabaf Yakam Laraf Yakam. 21.
Right. Okay, now we're gonna read Leviticus chapter 15. Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto the Most High. And you shall offer with the bread with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto the Lord, with their meat offering and their drink offerings, even an offering made by fire of sweet savor unto the Lord. These offerings don't magically get offered.
Right.
They have to be slaughtered. They're sheep. The sheep have fur. You got to cut the fur off the sheep to get to the meat. You got to drain the blood. You got to get the organs out. You got to dehoof it. Right. You got to get all of the innards out and slaughter and flay the meat. Then you have to wash it and season it and cook it and flour it and grill it. That is the job of the priests. The priests are not off on the Sabbath. All of this is the Sabbath. This is the priest's job. The priest is working on the Sabbath. You understand? Right. This is what Christ was explaining when they tried to bring it up to them. The same thing that people try to explain to us here, because we understand the Bible and you do not. That's why we teach in the Bible, and you should be listening instead of trying to teach and rebut, because you don't know the Bible. All right. Verse 19. And ye shall sacrifice 1 kid of the goats for a sin offering, and 2 lambs of the first year for a sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits for a wave offering before the Lord, with 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. Meaning all of this is separate unto the Lord. And the priests are going to take your offering and bring it to the Lord. And it is separate for the priests, because the offering that the priests are going to make on your behalf to the Lord, that offering of the Lord, the priests are going to take for themselves. That is how it always worked. All right. Verse 21. And you shall proclaim on the selfsame day that it may be an holy convocation unto you. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. All right. Okay. Basically, verse 22.
Verse 22 in the Hebrew. Waba Quatazar kam ath Quatazayar Aratazakam la'ab Takala Pa'at Shadak Quatazarak Laquat. It's like a Walaquat Quatazarak La'a the Laquat La'anya Walagar the Izab Athma Anya Yahweh Alahayakam. Verse 23. Wayadabar Yahweh al Mashala Amar. Verse 24. The bar al Banya Yasha'ala Amar Bachadash Basha Slake Hashabayaya Ba'achad La Lachadash Yahweh Lakam Shabafwan Zarak Slakia Zakarwan Tharaya Tharaya Makara'a Kodash verse 25 Karamala Akaf Ibada La'a the Aishawa Wakarabtam Ashala Yahweh verse 26 Where the bar Yahweh Al Mashallah Amor verse 27 Ak ba ashawar la khadash hashabaya hazah yawam haba it's like a hakaporium hawa'a makara'a kodash yahawa lakam wa ain it's like a wa ain naftma af napash it's like a napashaf yakam wa kara'a wa hakarab them asha la yahawa verse 28 Waka mala aka la'a ma aishawa ba'itazam hayawam haza kaya yawam kapariam hawa'a laka it's like a lakapar al yakam lapanya yahawa ala hayakam. That's it. 29. 28 start. Kind of says 29 draw start.
That's 4. All right. My science Christ. Yep. All right. So we at Leviticus chapter 23 and we started 22.
All right, 22, sir.
Verse 22. And when you shall reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest.
Right.
You understand? Neither shalt thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest. The gleaning is what falls down when you gather your harvest. If you ever went to an apple tree or a cashew tree or any tree with nuts or any fruit that's hanging off of it, even a vine or something with berries, and you go and you grab the shrub of the tree and you start pulling apples off, what happens to that tree when you start pulling off there? Who knows? Go ahead, sis. That's right. They're going to fall. Berries are going to fall. Apples are going to fall. Cashews, nuts are going to fall, especially if you grab a branch to pull down and you let that branch swing back, fruits flying everywhere, all over the place. Well, the Lord said, when you go to gather your harvest, meaning this belongs to you. These are your crops. They're your trees on your land that you grew on your soil. When you go to gather them, you understand, it says, let's read that 23 again. Thou shalt not make clean riddance of the corners of thy field. Whatever land that you have, let's say you got acres or how much land that you have. On the outskirts of all your fruit trees, your peach trees, your pear trees, you got corners. When you go to plant for groves, if you know anything about farming or raising grapes or we're dealing with orchards, those were things that we did. That's why we make every nation so rich. Our custom was agriculture. It was construction. It was leather working. It was metal working. It was jewelry. We did so much that having our people in slavery guaranteed that if you just watched us and you took what we were doing, you'd be filthy rich. Right. That's why America's so rich.
Right.
That's why Egypt was so rich. Right. That's why every empire we've been in, we've left our mark to the point where the people completely changed their customs to try to incorporate pieces of our customs.
Right.
That's why the Muslims, the Arabs went and took parts of the Bible to make a religion for themselves.
Right.
That's why everybody takes pieces of the Bible, because we have the #1 records on the planet, because our God is the real one that made everything, that controls everything. Their gods are just stones and idols and pictures and wood and animals that die. You see what I'm saying? So who knows why it says that you are not supposed to make a clean riddance of your field or anything that falls to the ground when you go to pick up your crops? Why did the Lord say that? Who wants to give it a shot? I'll come back to you. Anybody else want to give it a shot? Anybody else want to give it a shot? What about you, young man? You want to give it a shot? Sister, you want to give it a shot? Who knows why the Lord said that? No? You had no idea? Does everyone understand what that means, what I'm saying, when the Lord says that? You shall not make a clean riddance of your own trees, of the corners on your land, and the gleanings of whatever falls on the ground. Everybody understands that, right? You don't understand. Most High in Christ. That's what I'm saying. If you're not sure, just let us know. We'll break it down. The Christian church has made the entire Bible ununderstandable. And it's not magic. It's very simple because it's very black And the Christian church teaches us to think like white men, which is why the Bible doesn't make sense. In your field, if you have rows of trees that you plant, let's not even use trees. When it says you make clean riddance of your, maybe trees might be too extreme, the corners of thy field. Let's say you have a field, if you've ever seen a farm, you have a field of greens. You plant rows and rows of greens, mile of greens. You got greens, 3-4 columns, rows of greens. Then you got carrots. You got rows of carrots. You got your trussels up. You got string beans and beans that you planted going all the way down. You just set it up, put them in the sun, get some good soil and water. It's damn near going to grow itself. You got your greens. Let's just use those. You got rows and rows of greens, rows and rows of carrots, rows and rows of string beans, rows and rows of potatoes, right?
Right.
So when you pick your own crops, you're going to pick up what you need. You're going to eat it. You're going to wash them, prepare the meal for your family. You're not going to take everything out of the ground because you'd have too much. You understand? So the Lord is saying when you've gotten of your crops that you're picking up, at the very end of those acres of the land that you have, the very end of your field of greens and the end of your field of carrots and string beans, you cannot go and take every single row of carrots and greens and things that you have. And if you go and pick them and you pull in strawberries and you pull in string beans, if you go and pick them and whatever falls on the ground, that's the gleaning. The Lord said, you cannot empty your entire field. You cannot go all the way to the outskirts of what you have and take every last row of greens and carrots and corn and tomatoes. You cannot pick up and take what is falling on the ground. You're not supposed to pick up everything that falls on the ground. Now that I've explained that, who has an idea why the Lord is saying that? Who want to give it a shot? If nobody else, I give it to you.
Is it because of the requirement to pay tithe?
Well, it is a requirement to pay tithes, but that's not it. That's not it. You already paying. You're doing your offering. You're already doing your tithes. You understand? You're already doing it. All right. But that was a good answer. Go ahead, Anna. Let's see what you got, please.
So that someone that's hungry or poor, they can pick those up and eat.
Exactly. That is exactly correct.
That's right.
It is a law in the Bible. That's why it's here. The Lord, every time that we have been taught to celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving and birthdays and Mother's Day and Father's Day and New Year's Day, we were supposed to be taught this instead.
Right.
That every time, think of all the birthday parties, all the Christmas celebrations, all the Thanksgiving and 4th of July, every time the Lord gives us a high holy day, we are supposed to go over these to make sure that all of our generations have the same spirit and mindset amongst our people.
Right.
And it's going to say why here. It says, neither shall thou gather any gleaning of thy harvest, meaning this harvest belongs to you. It's not somebody else's harvest. They're not working this land. You are, or whoever you hired to help you work this land. You understand? Thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. Stranger is brothers and sisters that are not from your land. They may be from a different tribe. They may be from Issachar, like a bunch of Issacharites or Ephraimites, or brothers and sisters passing, going throughout the land. When every land where we are they're not supposed to have to go and, have a cup and a sign saying, hungry, please feed me. You understand? They're not supposed to have to stand in a line, getting impatient, trying to get the kids to keep still so that you can get some food stamps to try to get food in your refrigerator. Because we have this law that everyone who has land with acres of fruits and vegetables, you cannot take all of yours just because it belongs to you. The things that belong to you don't all belong to you to consume, like a greedy, rich Christian. They are for the poor. They are for your brothers and sisters that don't have, so that they don't end up robbing and stripping and prostituting and murdering and selling dope trying to get food.
Right.
There is food available. That's why we're supposed to have our own land.
Right.
That another race of people who's going to come and take the fruit and sell it in a store.
Right.
When I was little, the very last bits of apple trees and blueberry trees and raw fruits and things that have been planted from all of the black people that moved up from the South moving north, we planted nothing but trees.
White people had flowers in their garden. We had vegetables and onions and things because we had families to feed and they had vanity. They just wanted to look at flowers. We thinking about these people we got to feed because they don't think the way that we think. Once we integrated about the 80s, later mid 80s, they started to come with these mandatory pesticides to spray to keep everything clean, and that killed all the fruit trees. That's why the peach trees that you may have had when you were a very little baby, if you maybe 40, something like that, when you were a very little baby, depending on what city or state you were from, there were peach trees, there were apple trees, there were cherry trees, there were grape trees, there were fig trees, there were orange trees, even in a lot of the cities where we live. And by about the late 80s, by the time the 90s came around, the grocery stores started to spread up and pop up everywhere, and all of the fruit trees in the Black community started to die. Right. The honeysuckles started to disappear. The apples, the blueberries, the peaches, the pears. Now you have to go to the white man's supermarket in order to eat. And if you don't have money, you don't eat. Right. The Lord had it set up for us to be separate, and in the law, you did not take everything that the Lord blessed you with, because the Lord didn't just bless you for you. This is also for your people. Right. This is what we're supposed to be learning every time we have a holiday. These high holy days is supposed to put our spirit in the right frame of mind. Right. You see what I'm saying? And it says, I am the Lord your God, meaning I am the Most High. Like I'm saying this because this is the way that we are supposed to function. Right. That is why when every other race of people encountered us, they said, these are the greatest people we've ever met. Right. Like they don't know who we are. They feeding us. They bringing us corn. They showing us how to survive. They taking us in for the winter. Right. They giving us deer skins. They giving us gold. Let's start killing everybody. And that's what they did to us because we were just that great of people. Right. And they knew it. And as soon as they saw us, they started killing and enslaving us and stealing. That's what they did everywhere they went. That is why the Lord set up men of war so that you are not free to come through our neighborhood. Right. You're going to meet one of us before they get to meet one of you. Right. And we had them on all of our borders, and we spent centuries at war with everyone to make sure that the Koreans, the Arabs, the East Indians, the Vietnamese, the Chinese, and the Africans did not all have beauty supply stores and corner shops where we have to pay them and they contribute nothing to us. Right. That's why the entire Old Testament is filled with wars. Right. War, war, war. If there is no war, then they just roll in and take everything. Or King David has a battle and kills 10,000 of them in one day. Right. That way we stay free. You understand? Right. So that's how it worked. All right. So where we at now? 23. What I'm going to 28? Kind of concept. All right, we're gonna speed up a little bit here. Of course, y'all want some more to drink. Y'all want some more food and stuff. You know, y'all keep going. All right. So 23, Leviticus chapter 23 and 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, memorial blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. 26, the memorial blowing of trumpets. That's another high holy day. It is to teach us for the entire nation to gather together. We had a specific set of trumpet blasts that was set up. Just like I mentioned, we were surrounded by enemies on all sides. The Philistines, the Girgashites, the Jebusites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Argites, all of these other nations of people, they realized how prosperous we were. They all had us in slavery for a time, some 70 years, some 10 years, 8 years, 20 years, 40 years. Every one of the nations of people have had us in captivity. So they know how rich and how prosperous their people will be if they can enslave some of us, or many of us, or however many they can get. We're a gold mine. Everybody knows that. You see what I'm saying? And in the memorial blowing of trumpets, we will all gather together as a nation so that we can all have one wave of communication about the same thing, to show if there was a nation of people that was getting ready to invade us to go to war, because that was very frequent, or if everything was peaceful and we could just have our high holy day and just come and eat and party for 7 days and then go back to our land. That is what the memorial blowing of trumpets was. There was one trumpet blast if we were at war and we needed to mobilize all our armies to get prepared to go and meet the enemy before they make it to our communities and neighborhoods where our children and wives and families and grandmas and elderly are. Or if everything is fine, there's no war on the horizon, we can just party and celebrate. All right. That is a big problem we have as a people, because as a race of people from city to city and state to state and country to country, we don't have lines of communication.
Right.
That is how every nation of people is able to do the exact same exploitation to us in every land, because there's no communication. You understand? Slavery has taught us not to communicate. Like, it's very difficult to communicate. That's why we don't go to doctors. That's why we don't get the help for this. We don't get the help for that. That's why half of our people is strung out on drugs, because we can't communicate what's wrong. And if you do, 9 times out of 10, you'll get blamed for it. So it's better to just go and get high until you die. And then at the funeral, everybody would say, well, this happened to Jimmy when he was 12. And Jimmy, Sheila, after Bobby did that to her, she was never no more good.
Right.
She got on that stuff. And at the day that really messed Sheila up, man. He did it to me too.
Right.
Yeah, Jimmy, that wasn't right what they did. This happens to our people because we don't have the spirit of the Lord.
Right.
With the men that the Lord set up who know these things are happening to deal with our people the way that we need to be dealt with. The white man can't solve our problems. They don't think like us. They don't live like us.
Right.
Neither can an Arab, neither can an Asian, neither can an African. We are completely different from all of them.
Right.
All right. So let's keep going there. Where we at, kid?
27. Sorry.
Verse 27, offering by fire. All right. And on the 10th day of this month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you. You shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Day of atonement, afflict your souls, meaning that you do not eat. It is a sundown to sundown fast. You understand? Everyone that is able-bodied, people who are sick and need to take medicine, people who are pregnant, babies, old ladies that are going to die if they don't eat. You understand? You got some medical condition. You, of course, do not do a 24-hour fast. So we end up burying a quarter of our people by the next day. But if you are an able-bodied adult, you understand, you 16, 17, you're able to go 24 hours without eating, you don't have some medical condition, we are supposed to have this Day of Atonement as a nation to give up something that we need to survive, which is food, you understand, for 24 hours. So we can reflect on the Most High, you understand, reflect on things we need to do and change as a people and in our personal lives. And then, of course, we gather together after those 24 hours. We break that fast, and then we go back to eating again. All right? That is where the Muslims try to get and steal from and try to take pieces of the Bible and have their little fasting things. The other nations and people do the same thing. They take and make portions of the Bible which seem good to them. They take and make it a part of their culture. All right? 28, and ye shall do no work in the same day, for it is a day of atonement to make atonement for you before the Lord. When it's explaining work and servile work again, we are in slavery. We're in captivity. We don't have the fields of our own where our people can go and get food and grapes and vegetables and food from so that we don't starve to death. We have to pay our enemies for a place to stay and mortgage and rent. We have to pay them for everything. Because we are in slavery, you may have to slave. That's why it's not work. This is work here, doing the work of the Lord for us.
Right.
What we do to make sure that you're not homeless is slavery.
Right.
In Esau's hospital, at his job, his grocery store, his businesses, his court, his office, driving his bus, picking up his trash, working in his retail stores or restaurants. That is slavery.
Right.
If we were free, we would not do these things. But we're not free as a people. We are in captivity. That is why brothers end up slaving on the Sabbath day. We're not free. It's slavery. You understand? Okay. Verse 20, what we at?
Oh, that was
28. That was the end of 28.
All right. Read verse 28.
Finish. Okay. 28. And ye shall do no work in the same day, for it is a day of atonement to make an atonement for you before the Most High your power. All right, where we at? 120? All right, cool.
Verse 29 in the Hebrew. Kaya kahana pasha shala ma'ayana ma'ayna salaki ta'ayna ba'aitazam hayawam haza wana karath ha ma'ayma slaki ma'aymaya ma'aym slaki ma'aym yaha. Verse 30. Wakal
Is this better,
Hanapash.
folks? Is this better?
Kind of Wakan, sir.
You want to use this?
Kind of Wakan.
All right, no. Yeah, I got it up here.
Kind of Wakan, sir. Verse 30.
Check the camera though, because you moved. You moved the camera.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Did I actually?
Did it move the camera?
No,
No, it's okay.
it's
You
too
try.
loud.
Go
Right,
ahead.
kind of
Go
Wakan.
ahead.
Sometimes that does happen. Kind of Wakan. Verse 30. Wakal Hanapash Ashar Ma'aisha Ma'aisha Akal Mala Akal Ba'itazam Hayawam Hazah what Arabadat. It's like it. Wahabadafya Ath Hanapash Hahawa'a Makarab Aima. Verse 31. Ka Mala Akal La'a Da'aisha wa Hakwath wa Ila it's like it. I walam la darafyakam bakal mashabafyakam. Verse 32. Shabaf wan hawa'alakam wa ainayath. It's like a wa ainayathma ath napashafyakam basha'aya lachadash ba'irab ma'irab Aid irab that shabafwa shabafkam. Verse 33. Wayadabar Yahweh al Mashala Amar. Verse 34. The bar al Banya Yasha ala Amar Bachamasha Aishar Yawam Lachadash Hashabayaya Hazah Chag Ha'aiwakam. It's like it. Hasakawath Shabawa'ith. It's like it. Shabaif Yam La Yahweh. Verse 35. Bayawam Hara Ashwan Makara'a Kwadash Ka Mala Akaf Ibada La'a Da Aishawa. Verse 36. Shabaif Yam Karayabwa Asha La Yahawa Bayawam Hashabaya Slakia Hashamayanya Makara'a Kwadash Yahaya Lakam Hawa Karabdam Asha La Yahawa Itazarath Hawa'a Ka Mala Akaf Ibada La'a Da Aishawa.
About 6.
Kind of
7.
36. Yep.
All right, so what we started at?
29.
Leviticus chapter 32 and verse 29. For whatsoever so it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. Whoever does not do the 24-hour fast from sundown to sundown, you're going to be cut off. You would be considered as though you were a heathen, as though you were no longer one of us. You would go and live amongst the other nations. You would be cut off from among our people. There were many things that you could do to be cut off from among our people, right, to be considered a heathen. You understand? By the time it came when Christ was around, the whole nation had done everything that the Lord said not to do, to where the Lord looked at us all as heathen. Right. That is why Christ came and died. And we got the New Testament that gave everyone that had been cut off previously, everyone now has an opportunity to come back. At no point in time was it ever to be that another nation or another race of people, now that Christ came, could now be accepted as the children of God. It was never like that. Romans, the 9th chapter, clears this up. Even Paul cleared it up because everybody lies on Paul, especially the Christian church, saying that Paul's writings explain that God always wanted the Gentiles, which is the other nations of people, to now be accepted, which was not true. The Gentiles that Paul was speaking to were all Israelites. That's what saints mean. That's what fellow servants in Christ. That's why he mentioned the covenant of sacrifice, which was from Exodus, the 24th chapter, that was only made with the children of Israel. All of these things are very important legal terms that if you don't understand or you don't know what's happening in the Old Testament, nothing in the New Testament is going to make any sense, right, which is why the Bible doesn't make any sense to us, because we've learned from Christians. But we understand and know it all. That's why we explain it. Whatsoever so will be cut off from among his people. All right. Verse 31, you shall do no manner of work. It is a statute. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations and all your dwellings. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and you shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at even. From even unto even you shall celebrate your Sabbath. And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, who we stopping at? Verse 34. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days unto the Lord. Tabernacles means tents. We are remembering that we went and lived in tents. Once we had to leave Egypt, We lived in the wilderness. We had to live and set up tents. We built entire cities of tents. That's why when Esau sets up his military, he goes and invades a city and builds an entire military base out of tents, big tents, little tents, and sets up everything. Whole city made out of tents, dropped out of those C-130s. You understand? That's what we did. We came out of Egypt. We built cities of tents. You can turn a tent into a whole house, not just a teepee. A tent can be a whole lot of things. Remember, we were construction workers. We did everything that we needed to make a nation. We had it inside of ourselves. We just did not have rules, and we weren't used to being a free people. That's why the Lord is laying out these high holy days and these laws. All right. Verse 33, on the first day shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. Verse 36, 7 days you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you. You shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly. It is a separate assembly. And ye shall do no servile work therein. All right. So it'll be 37.
Okay, sir. That's it on 36.
Okay, that's 36.
I'll
I'll stop
start
at 37.
I'll start at 37.
All right, come. Go ahead.
Verse 37 in Hebrew. Alama wa Aija Yahweh Ashar the Kara'a wa Atham Makara'a Kodash la Kara Slaki la Hakarayab Ashar la Yahweh Aila Manak Slaki Hamanaka Slaki what Wamanacha Zabak when I sack Slaki when I sack yam the bar Yawam by Yawamwa. Verse 38.
Malab. So like, let's check the time. I might finish the rest of this in English depending on the time.
At 8:31, sir.
26. We're on 26. It's supposed to be an hour.
All right, go ahead.
Karawakan, sir. Verse 30. What was that? Verse 38. Karawakan. Verse 38. Malabad Shabbathap Yahweh. What Malabad Mathanawath Yakam. Wa Malabad Kal not like it. Not over Yakam. Malabad Kal not a Baf Yakam Ashar the Thunwa La Yahweh. Verse 39. Ak Bachamasha Ashar Yawam Lachadash Hayashabaya ba Asap. It's like a ba Asap come Ath Tabawath Ha'arataza the Chag it's like the Chagwa Ath Chag Yahweh Shabaif Yam by Yawam Hara Ashwan Shabafwan what Yawam Hashemayanya Shabafwan. Verse 40. Walakwak Walakwak it's like a Walakokath ma Lakam by Yawam Hara Ashwan Parya Aitaza Hara Hadar Kapath the Mariam Wa'ain Wa'ainap Aitaza Ibaf Wa'Ibar Slake Wa'Irabya Nachal Washamanakathma Lapanya Yahweh Alahayakam Shabaif Yam it's like it Yamayam the water. Verse 20 verse 41 Wachag Wachagathma I don't know that's Chag Wachagtham Kan Athwa Chag La Yahweh Shabaif Yamayam Bashana Chakwath Iwalam La Rafima La Rafiam Yakam like it La Raf Yakam Bachadash Hashabayaya the Chagwa Athwa. Verse 42. Basakam the Shabwa Shabaith Yamayam Ka Ha'azar it's like Ha'azarak Bayasha Allah Yabashwa Nashapath it's like it Basakath.
All right. 44.
Karawaka,
Go ahead, finish it.
Karawaka, sir. Oh yeah, it's like it's 2 more verses.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 43. Lama'ain Yadaiwa the Rafyakam Kaya Ba'irawath It's like a basabawath. It's like it. That's sak. It's like a basakwath. Kaya basakwath. Hawabash. Hawa shabafya. Ath banya yasha Allah. Bahawawataza ya. Athma. Athma ma'arataza. Mataza. That's Egypt. Matazarayim anya Yahweh alahayakam. Verse 44. Waya dabar masha af ma'aija Yahweh al banya yasha Allah.
All right, so we finish this off in the English. All right, start at 35. Leviticus chapter 23 and 35. On the first day shall be in holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein.
37.
Are we down to 7? Verse 37. These are the feasts of the Most High, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and a drink offerings, everything upon his day, beside the Sabbaths of the Most High, and besides your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside your free will offerings which ye give unto the Most High. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered the first fruit. So like when ye have gathered the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. And the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath. Ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees and branches of palm trees and the boughs of thick trees and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before the Most High your power 7 days. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. 42. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths. Your generations may know that I made that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths. A booth is a tent. We lived in tents. Same thing I was just explaining to you. The tribe of Gad is known for tents or teepees. That is a booth. That is a tent. That is what the tribe of Gad, the so-called Native Americans, the tribe of Reuben, the Seminole Indians, more specifically the Plains Indians, which are the tribe of Gad, because of course the tribes on the eastern shore boards on the eastern coast, they had lots of log cabins, which do not come from George Washington. The Native American tribes invented and built log cabins. Everybody didn't live in a teepee. Long houses, wooden houses, those cabins. White people go up in the woods with the cabins. Gad made those.
That's right.
That's Gadite culture. That's not white people culture. They lived in stone houses, sleeping next to the pigs on bales of hay, filled with rats and lice and all kind of horrible things. You understand? And that smell that they have. You understand? So that your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Most High your power. It's built into our culture, all of these high holy days, that our children would know them, because we do these every few months. You understand?
Right.
And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord. So these are all the high holy days that the Lord commanded us to keep. Of course, over time, we have memorials, which are other days that we have to also keep and celebrate. You got the memorial, blowing of trumpets. You have not blowing of trumpets. What we got? We got Esther.
That are not.
That are not actual high holy days.
Right.
We got Esther. We got Purim. We got Hanukkah, remembering our war with the Greeks to get them out of our land. They were killing us and forcing us to take their culture, which is why by the time Christ came on the scene during the book of Matthew in the so-called New Testament, half of our people were being called Gentiles because we were living life like the Greeks. Other than that, have them hanging us and burning us alive in our houses and torturing us to death. They forced us to take their culture or die.
Right.
So whoever did not died, and whoever did take the culture, they were still alive, pretending to be Greeks, the same way that we are Americans.
Right.
And Christians and Democrats and Republicans, we took the culture of the people that killed whoever did not fight them and die or be put to death.
Right.
So those are the Lord's high holy days. All right. Just us up here. Imadium. All right. Let's see where we at time-wise. Send up the prayers. Right. Got it. Ready? This we do every Sabbath service. This was always done in the temple. This was so that our people, the young men and young women, everybody would know this was our culture and our heritage, to make sure that we kept our language, make sure that we kept our traditions, and make sure that who we were as a people, as containing these high holy days, was kept in all of our land for every tribe, everywhere we went, so that we could keep that. All right. Same way we have, different high holy days that our oppressor gives us in the world. Like, so, no sweat.
La Yashala.
Cover the scroll back up. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. First, yeah, let's do it. Back. Right. Get the whole time. Madyam, which means to stand. Everybody stand. Wapanya Hakodam, which means turn and face the east. We'll do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew.
The Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayah.
Shabbat Shemayah.
Qudash.
Hayah.
Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakufka.
Malakufka.
Taba'ah.
Taba'ah.
Ratazaka.
Ratazaka.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Ba'arataza.
Ba'arataza. Kawa.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Bashemayah.
Bashemayah.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Kal.
Kal.
Yawam.
Yawam.
Wasalaknawa.
Wasalaknawa.
Kabawaknawa.
Kawawaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kabawaknawa.
Kawawaknawa. Wala'ah.
Tabiya'anawa.
Tabiya'anawa.
Banasayawan.
Bunasai one.
Abor.
Abor.
Kawashaynawa.
Hawashaynawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Ra.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Amalakwa.
Amalakwa.
Waha'ala.
Waha'ala.
Wahatapara.
Wahatapara.
La'awalamyam. Aman.
Aman. In the English, our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom
Thy
come.
kingdom come.
Thy will be
Thy
done
will be done
in earth as it is in
as
heaven.
it is in heaven.
And give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts
Forgive us our debts
as we forgive our
and
debtors.
forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from
For
evil.
thine is the
For
kingdom
thine is the kingdom
and the power
and the power
and the glory
and the glory
forever. So be.
So be it. Hakak, the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Hashem Yahushua.
Babu Kushah.
Baba Kushua.
Nathanawa.
Nathanawa.
Hakak.
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 Lava Pa'ah.
Laura Paul.
Kal Machala.
Kal Makala.
Kal Manawa.
Wakal Marawa.
Hakak.
Hakak.
Latahar.
Latahar.
Hamad Zariah.
Hamatazariah. Hakak.
Lahakuya.
Lahakuya.
Hamathya.
Hamathya. Hakak.
Awakawa.
Arakawa.
Latama'ala.
Latama'ala.
Lagarashan.
Lagarishan.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Hashem Yahushua.
Wada Aman.
The water Aman. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In
Shah.
the name of Yahweh Shah.
Please give us the power.
Please give us the
The
power.
power to heal.
The power to
All
heal.
manner of sickness.
All manner of
And
sickness.
all manner of disease.
And all manner of
The
disease.
power to cleanse the
The
lepers.
power to cleanse the
The power
lepers.
to raise the
The
dead.
power to raise the
The
dead.
power against unclean
The
spirits.
power against unclean spirits.
To cast them
To
out.
cast them
In
out.
the name of Yahweh
In
Shah.
the name of Yahweh Shah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be.
So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha.
Asha.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Al-Haharya.
Al-Hahoria.
Ma'ayan.
Ma'ayan.
Yaba'a.
Yaba'ah.
Isaiah.
Isaiah. Isaiah.
Ma'ayin.
Ma'ayin.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shemaiah.
Shemaiah.
Wa'arataza.
Wa'arataza.
Al-Yathan.
Al-Yathan.
Lamawat.
Lamawat.
Regalka.
Regalka.
Al-Dinawam.
Al-Yanawam.
Shamarka.
Shamorka.
Hana.
Hana.
La'a.
La'a.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala'a.
Wala'ah.
Yashan.
Yashan.
Shawamar.
Shawamar.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamorka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalka.
Tazalka.
Al-Yad.
Al-Yad.
Yamdinka.
Yamyaka.
Yawamam.
Yawamam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'a.
La'a.
Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayarak.
Wayarak.
Walayala.
Balayala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamorka.
Yashamorka.
Makal Rai.
Makal Rai.
Yashamor.
Yashamor.
Afnapashka.
Afnapashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamor.
Yashamor.
Tazalafka.
Taza'aka.
Wabawaka.
Wabawaka.
Maita.
Waita. up. Aman. In the English, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes to the hills.
From which cometh my help?
From which cometh my help?
My help coming from
My
Yahweh,
help coming from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth
He
thee
that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth
he
Israel
that keepeth
shall
Israel
neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by
The
day,
sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in.
from this time
From
forth
this time forth
and even
and
forevermore.
even forevermore.
So be it.
So be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim,
Al damayalaka.
al damayalaka,
Al tacharash.
al
Wa
tacharash,
al tashakwat.
wa al tashakwat, al
Kayahana.
kayahana,
Awayabdaka.
awayabyaka,
Yahama yawan.
Yahama yawan,
Wamashanayaka.
wamashanayaka,
Nasha'awa.
nasha'awa,
Ra'ash.
ra'ash,
Al aimaka.
al aimaka,
Ya ibrayamwa.
ya'ariyamwa,
Sawa.
sawa,
Wayata ya ai tazawa.
wayatayai
Al
tazawa,
tazapawanyaka.
al tazapawanyaka,
Amorawa.
Amorawa.
Lakawa.
Walakawa.
Wanakakida.
wanakakida,
Magoya.
magoya,
Wala'a.
wala'a,
Yazakar.
yazakar,
Sham Yasha'ala.
sham yasha'al,
Aiwad.
aiwa,
Kaya.
kaya,
Nawa'ai tazawa.
nawa'ai tazawa,
Lab.
la,
Yakhadwa.
yakadwa,
Al Yakar.
al yakar,
Barya.
barya,
Yakarafwa.
yakarathwa,
Ahoya.
ahoya,
Adawam.
Adawan,
Wayashama'alaya.
wayashma'al,
Mawa'aba.
mawa'ab,
Wahagoya.
wahagoya,
Wabal.
wabal,
Wa'amawad.
wa'imawad,
Wa'amalat.
wa'imala,
Palashat.
palashat,
Am Yashabya.
an yashab,
Tazawar.
tazawar,
Gum Ashawar.
gum ashawar,
Nalawa.
nalawa,
Imam.
aimam,
Hayawa.
hayawa,
Zawawai.
zarawai,
Labandalawat.
labanyalawat,
Salah.
salah,
Aishalaham.
aishalaham,
Kamadyan.
kamadyan,
Kasayasaba'ah.
kasaya saraa,
Kayabyan.
kayabyan,
Banakhaw.
banakhaw,
Koyashwan.
kwayashwan,
Nashamadwa.
nashamadwa,
Ba'ayanda Ara.
ba'ayan da'ara,
Hayawa.
hayawa,
Daman.
daman,
La'adama.
la'adama,
Shayatamwa.
shayatamwa,
Narayamawa.
nadayamawa,
Ka'ira.
ka'ira,
Wakazabak.
Wakazabak.
Wakaza'aba.
wakaza'aba,
Wakazabak.
wakazabak,
Wakazalmanai.
wakatazal manal,
Kal.
kal,
Nasayakamwa.
nasayakamwa,
Ashar.
ashar,
Amorwa.
Amorwa.
Nayarashah.
nayarashah,
Lanawa.
lanawa,
Na'awa.
na'awa,
Alahayam.
alahaya,
Alahaya.
alahaya,
Shayatamwa.
shayatamwa,
Kagalgala.
kagalgala,
Kakwash.
kakwash,
Lapanya Raka.
lapanyaraka,
Ka'ash.
ka'ash,
Daba Ira Ya'ira.
dabaira ya'ira,
Wakalahaba.
wakalahaba,
Falahat.
talahat,
Karyam.
karyam,
Khan.
kan,
Daradapma. Basa
daradapma,
Ibraka.
basa
Baba
iraka,
Sabapapka.
wabasawa
Dabahalam.
dabahalam,
Mala'a.
mala'a,
Panyaham.
panyaham,
Kwalawa.
kwalawan,
Wayabakwashwa.
wayabakwashwa,
Shamka.
shamka,
Yahawa.
Yahweh,
Yabashwa.
Yabashwa,
Wayabahalwa.
wayabahalwa,
Ay Ya'ay.
ayyai,
Wayachaparwa.
wayachaparwa,
Wayabadwa.
wayabadwa,
Wayada'aywa.
wayada'aywa,
Kaya.
kaya,
Atha.
atha,
Shamka.
shamka,
Yahawa.
Yahweh,
Labadka.
labadka,
Al Yawan.
al yawan,
Al.
al,
Kaul.
kal,
Avataza.
ha'aratisa,
Aman.
aman. And in the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh,
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
and be not still, O Yahweh.
Be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thine enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee
and they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people,
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people,
and consulted against thy hidden one.
and consulted against thy hidden one.
They have said,
They have said,
come,
come
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them off
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
All right. And just so that y'all understand, these are the prayers that we're talking about. They all work together. Even though they are fighting and going to war with each other, they are all working together to oppress our people.
That's right.
You understand? The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom are the so-called white man, the Jewish man, the German man, the Irish man, the Dutch, the French, the Portuguese, the Spaniard, the Italian. They all work together to enslave so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and they all rule over our people right now.
Right.
All of that slavery money from cotton and sugarcane, all of those shipping companies, insurance companies, those banks, they all got their wealth and power from enslaving our people.
Right.
And they have always been against us, even since the days of King David. And we have been praying and warring against them since then.
Right.
All right. The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites are the so-called Arabs. You understand? They're the ones that built the ships and sold us into slavery. Africans sold us to Arabs, and they sold us to the so-called Europeans. You understand? They got filthy rich off of selling us. of Moab.
of Moab.
Moab are the Chinese and the Koreans. All the carryouts and nail supply shops and stores, they got nuclear weapons off of fighting, you understand, off of our people being destroyed. They got filthy rich from us in our destruction.
Correct.
You understand?
Right.
Of Moab
Of Moab.
and the Hagarenes
And the Hagarenes.
at Gabal,
And
a
Gabal.
bunch of Africans, and Ammon.
And Ammon.
Ammon, the so-called Japanese, the other Asians, you understand? And Amalek.
And Amalek.
That's the so-called Jewish man. He has our identity,
Right.
pretending to be us, pretending to be the people of the Bible. He controls the world with our records, the imposter, you understand? The Philistines,
The Philistines.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
With inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also is joined with them.
Asher also is joined with them.
You understand? Those are Africans. All the various Africans that come together. Of course, they sold us and got filthy rich, selling us for hundreds of years to Arabs and to Europeans. They sold us and got rich to this very day. You understand? They have always been against us. Asher also is joined with them.
Asher also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of
They
Lot.
have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of
at the
Kison,
book of Kasan,
which perished at
which
Endor.
perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the
They
earth.
became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like Oreb
Make the nobles like Oreb,
and like Zair.
like Zair,
Yea,
yea,
all their princes
all their princes
as Zabah
as Zabah
and as
and
Amunah,
as Amunah,
who said,
who said,
let us take to
let
ourselves
us take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh in possession.
the house of Yahweh in possession.
O my power,
Oh, my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stubble before the
as
wind,
the stubble before the wind,
as the fire burneth their wood,
as the fire burneth for wood,
and as the flame setteth the mountains on
and
fire.
as the flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy
So
tempest,
persecute them with thy temper,
and make them afraid with thy
and
storm.
make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy
that they
name.
may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
let them be
let
confounded
them be
and
confounded
troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may
that
know
men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name
whose
alone
name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high
art the most high
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
So be.
So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh
Wa
Shai.
Maya Ka'ala.
Wa Mayaka
Wa
Allah.
Alahaya.
Wa Alahaya.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawak Yahana.
Alawap
Ha
Yahana.
Alawak Yah.
Ha Alawap Yah.
Hasaranya.
Ha Saranya.
Hakutazayanya.
Ha Quatazayanya.
Hakayayaya.
Ha Chayayawya.
Waha Akwafya.
Wa Ha Akwafya.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bashim Yahweh Shai.
Hashim Yahweh
The
Shai.
water Aman.
The water Aman. And in the English, bless you Yahweh.
Bless you out.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
And the angels.
Commanding General Yahana.
Commanding General Yahana.
The general.
The generals.
The captain.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you always.
Thank you always.
So be it.
So be it.
Curse. All right. Blessed are you, Yahweh,
Blessed are you, Yahweh,
King of heaven and earth,
King of heaven and earth,
and all things living.
and all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai.
name of Yahweh Shai.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evil and curses
Since evil and curses
and punishment and destruction
and punishment, destruction
to the heathen
to the heathen
that speak against
that
us.
speak against
Thy
us.
prophets,
Thy prophets,
the
the
teachers,
teachers,
the priests,
the priests,
the princes,
the princes,
the priests,
the priests,
the Israelite
the
brothers,
Israelite brothers,
and the school.
and the school.
Send evil and curses
Send evils and curses
and punishment and destruction
and punishment, destruction
to the heathen
to the heathen,
and shake loose the
and
treasure
shake loose the treasure
of the rich of
of the
Israel
rich of
that
Israel
refuse to give to the school.
that refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their riches
They enter into thy
to
sanctuary.
enter thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses
Send evils and curses
and punishment and destruction
and punishment, destruction
to the Edomites
to the Edomites
and the nations,
and the nation,
their drug
the
dealers,
drug dealers,
the court
the
system,
court system,
the prison
the
system,
prison system,
Planned Parenthood,
Planned Parenthood,
all the governments of our enemies,
all the governments of our enemies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Amalek synagogues and armies,
Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church,
the Pope,
the Pope,
Islam,
Islam,
Christianity,
Christianity,
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
militia,
militia,
Ku Klux
Ku
Klan,
Klux Klan,
Aryan Nation,
Aryan Nation,
Skinheads,
Skinheads,
Posse Comitazi,
Pastor
the gay
the
movement,
gay
the
movement,
lesbian
lesbian
movement,
movement,
spies,
spies,
workers of witchcraft,
workers of witchcraft,
NASA space program,
NASA space program,
Army,
Army,
Navy,
Navy,
Air Force,
Air Force,
Marines,
Marines,
Wall Street,
Wall Street.
and just a little bit to explain that why we are sending up these prayers. The only reason that our communities are filled with crack and cocaine and heroin and weed and Percocets and Molly's is because other nations of people flood their drugs into our communities. And if there are no curses to stop, to pray to the Lord to wipe and hurt these people, then we will never get the drugs off of our streets to stop our sons and daughters and families from overdosing and getting life sentences in prison and murdering each other. You understand?
Right.
If the Lord does not visit our oppressors and their governments, we can never be free.
Right.
If the Lord does not visit their prison system, there's 2 million of us in prison. They will never let us go. There's black men, Hispanics, Native Americans. We have no opportunity to get from under their system unless the Lord visits and wipe their people out. You understand? We have no opportunity. The Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, and skinheads, that's who shot up the grocery store in Buffalo. You understand?
Right.
That's who's with the gun and badge riding around in the street, pulling brothers and sisters over and killing them at traffic stops. So we sending up these prayers so that the Lord can wipe out our enemies who are wiping us out. You understand?
Right.
They don't pray these prayers in church.
Right.
You understand? We praying for the Lord to move on our enemies so that no more of our people die at their hands.
Right.
All right. Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
The airwaves.
The airways.
Cable access channel.
Cable access channel.
And the radio channel.
The radio channel.
Convict the spirit.
Convict the
Of
spirit
any of our people.
of any of our people
that seek to stop
that
us.
seek to stop us.
And bring swift destruction.
Bring swift destruction
To all the
to
heathen.
all the heathen
That stand in the way.
that stand in the way.
Will try to stop us.
Try to stop
From
us
broadcasting your
from
word.
broadcasting the word
Throughout the planet
throughout
Earth.
the planet Earth.
Let loose all the
Let
plagues.
loose all the plagues.
Cause them to go to and fro.
Cause them to go to and fro
The earth and consume them.
through the earth and consume them.
Let the plague
Let the plague
shake the house of the thief
shake the house of the thief
and the murderer.
and the murderer.
Let Yahweh Shah,
Let Yahweh Shah,
Michael and Gabriel
Michael and Gabriel
come down with the flying
come
saucers
down with the flying saucers
and punish all the heathen
and punish all the heathen
that come up against
that
us
come up against
as
us
we speak thy
as
word.
we speak thy word.
Cause it to be known by all
Cause it to be known by all
that it is the angels that have done it.
that is the angels that have done it.
Cause it to be spread through
Cause-
the media
Cause it to be spread through the media
throughout the whole world.
throughout the whole world.
Cause them to shake at thy coming.
Cause them to shake up thy coming.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
In the name of Yahweh Shah,
Thank you.
thank you.
So be.
So be it. Bless Israel in Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Barak Lanawa.
Barak
Wa
Lanawa.
Yasha'Allah.
Wayasha'Allah.
Waha. It's like it. Waha Bayaf Saparia.
Wahabayah Sapar.
Barak.
Barak.
Rapa.
Rapah.
Magun.
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 Hagun.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Wada Amon.
The Wad Ahmad, what we just said in the English is the Most High, Yahweh, which is capital Lord. That's the Most High. That's God's proper name. In the name of Yahweh Shah, which is Jesus in the Hebrew. Bless, heal, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, and protect our loved ones in the name of Yahweh Shah. Thank you. So be. All right. Sar, which means to turn. All right. Sisters, Yeshavium, which means to be seated.
I gotta blow my horn first.
Go ahead. Before they sit.
Calm down.
Salak, it's just, I might you stand up real quick. Go ahead. All right. Yeshavium now be seated. Salak. All right.
You want to hold the door? Do it. Kind of so that that's before everything. Oh, when it comes to right, we passed this one.
All right. Men of Israel going to give one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim.
There you go.
Barak.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah Barakatha.
Yahweh Shema Shah Barakatham. Sar, which means to turn and face the sisters. And sisters, Amadim, which means to stand. All right. One more time there. All right. Men of Israel going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim. Barak.
Yahweh Shemar Alathan Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
And so, sisters, you repeat the same thing. Yahweh, Shamar, Al, Athan, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, which means the Most High, watch over you in the name of Christ. Yadim Matah, which means hands down. Class dismissed. Inside.